Welcome to another episode of IEEE podcast. My name is Azamat. I'm going to be your host today. And today we have as a guest Professor Kabylkas. Professor, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having.
So before going with the questions, let me just briefly introduce our guest. Professor Kabylkas is the founder of Texter AI. He is the graduate of Rochester Institute of Technology and University of California, Santa Cruz. And now he is the assistant professor at Nazarbayev University. Professor, we'd like to start with your early years, not like your undergraduate years, but even earlier, your high school years. We know that you are the graduate of KTL. So I would like to ask about this. What was the decision making behind your application to the KTL? Why did you apply there? What made you apply there, and so on and so forth? So about this, please.
Sure. I'll start a bit earlier. I was raised and born here in Astana. Those days, I think it was called Selinograd, then changed to Akmola, and then Astana, then Nur-Sultan, I guess, right? And back to Astana. Yeah, I actually spent quite a bit of time in the territory of Nazarbayev University. It was the end of the city, actually, those years. Just a plain step with some dachas around, right? So we used to have one dacha here. But most of the childhood I was in the 5th microdistrict, Pятый microrayon. We had a 22nd school over there. I started my elementary over there. And the whole topic of KTL, I guess, started around 5th year, right? The 5th grade. My parents heard from somewhere that, hey, there is this school, like smart kids go there. I had a lot of doubts, actually, because I wasn't honestly wasn't performing like not very good at school. Not because it was difficult, but I think it was just didn't find much purpose in studying things. But why I decided to go there, I think there was one key phrase of my brother when something switched, I guess, in my head. And that was related to the languages, right? Because like many people, I guess most of you guys probably know that it's a multilingual school, right? And my brother said, even though maybe you're going to perform bad at school, but at least you will learn 4 languages. You're going to know 4 languages when you get out of the school. And I think that was the key factor in why I decided to go there.
So 5 years in the school went by and you were in 11th grade. So what was this like stressful application period process for you? Where did you apply? What was it like thought process behind?
Undergraduate? You're talking about undergraduate?
I mean, you're finishing your high school in
Yeah.
KTL. Yeah, about the undergraduate application.
Oh, I see. That was quite a hassle, I guess, right? Because again, many things was happening at that point. I mean, 7th year, I started my KTL, right? Again, a lot of doubts. Will I be able to study there? A lot of things was going through my mind, I guess, at that point. But somehow I think it was mostly the teachers, right? The teachers were kind of like caring about the students, I guess, right? Caring about the students, worrying about the students, probably even praying about the students, right? And I guess with those kind of blessing, I guess, I started picking up, right? And especially the environment, because even though, as I said, I wasn't like performing well before the KTL, right? And once I got into this environment where it's sort of like top students, right, of the whole like city, everyone wants to study, and with that kind of a drive, right, with that kind of environment, I just picked up the school. I was in that competitive environment. I guess I just found like studying interesting, I guess, right? And then, yeah, coming back to your question, again, why I even decided to go to America, right? I mean, again, it's something that was kind of like a childhood dream, I would say, right? And a lot of students, brothers, were applying to Bolashak, right? So you already, I mean, being in that environment, you at least hear that, hey, that someone is studying there abroad in America, right? And at least it's becoming not something impossible. There is something. It becomes something that you can like at least like from someone, one person, like from one hop of the person, right? So you kind of know that someone is studying over there, and it's not impossible anymore. So you kind of started like preparing. The ninth grade, I actually started preparing to TOEFL. Was waking up early in the mornings, 4 a.m. Remember, just to prepare, just because you have like classes before. I mean, the whole day is busy, right? In the high school, I mean, you start with the classes and then you have to do homeworks. I mean, pretty much there is no like space to fit in like something like additional, right? And on top of that, I was preparing to computer science Olympiads. I guess many things were happening, preparing to TOEFL, and applying to schools, right? And yeah, I just like it came just naturally. Right? It's just like and I wasn't doing it myself. I had friends who were also applying, and just in that environment, just happened naturally, I think.
Okay, okay. But eventually you got into SDU in 2008, I think. Yeah. And the major was the philology.
Yes.
So how all that happened? You were planning to go to America? You were a computer science Olympiad student?
Yes. Yeah, I was a computer science Olympiad student. As I said, I started picking up school, so they added me to this Altenbilge. So it's an interesting like a story, right? So they added me to this Altenbilge list, right? So that, and at that time, Altenbilge students, I mean, those who completed, who got qualified for Altenbilge, right? And if you defended it, you had this privilege to choose any field that you want to go, right? So I kind of picked the easy step. I started preparing to English, right? Because I was quite good at English, and I basically the IEEE-NU picked the English language. And like I think 3 months before our IEEE-NU, they canceled that privilege, saying that I mean, even though you're Altenbilge, you can pick the subject based on the fourth subject that you pick, right? And because I had English, because I prepared for English for the whole year, I just didn't didn't switch. And my whole hope was that I'll be somewhere for a couple of years, and then I'll just switch back to the computer science. And that's how I got into the SDU, to the philology, I guess, department.
Okay, that explains actually.
Yeah.
But then
it was accident, I guess.
But then in 2009, you got to New York State.
Yeah.
And you started learning computer engineering. So basically, you reapplied, right?
Yes. I mean, it was in parallel, right? So SDU was like plan B, I guess. But it was the Bolashak process, because I got to Rochester Institute of Technology through Bolashak. So the Bolashak process was like still running. The decision was not made. And in 2008, I think October, November, the results of Bolashak came out. And I was accepted, and I just get out of the SDU immediately. But the SDU wasn't like in vain, I guess. That's where I met my wife. So it was a very important step in my life.
So as I mentioned, you got into computer engineering in
Yes.
Rochester. You said that you were Olympiad student in computer engineering. So what was like the turning point? Because you said initially the motivation was the languages, you got into the KTL, and now you were Olympiad student in computer engineering.
I see. Yeah. Languages was one that factor that made me go to KTL, right? And then, as I said, I started picking up things. The kind of studying and learning kind of became easy. And programming actually was one of those things that I started before KTL actually. So I had this neighbor, as I said, in the 5th micro district. His name is Alexei Locha. He was subscribed to this hacker journal, right? I'm not sure if you guys know about it. It's a hacker journal. They used to write about different hacking like methodologies, and we used to like connect to the internet and then do some SQL injection. I mean, the internet was very vulnerable those days, so you can apply those basic, I guess, security vulnerabilities, like SQL injection. We used to do that like I was like 5th grade or 6th grade. So programming wasn't something I guess foreign for me, I guess, right? So I kind of had this programming and like the tendency to be close to computers, I would say, right? And then in KTL, because they make you choose an Olympiad, right? Computer science was something that I just naturally picked, right? So from the 8th grade, I started doing some competitive programming things, and up to the completion of the high school, I attended. I mean, I didn't go to the international Olympiads, but at least I was doing those kind of things. Got very solid, I guess, programming foundation in the high school.
Clear. So then you got to the New York,
Mhm.
to Rochester Institute. So how was this transition? Because it's obviously a big step from Astana to the
Yeah.
New York, probably the biggest city in the world. So what was the adjustment process for you?
Yeah, it's actually New York. It's in New York State.
Yeah.
It's not in New York City, right? So it's I went to Rochester Institute of Technology. It's upstate New York, very close to Canada, and from Rochester to New York City, it's actually a 6-hour drive. So it's a different city. It's
But
much
still,
smaller.
it's like different country.
But it's a different
Yeah.
country. Yes, I mean it's even though it's a small city in the United States, in New York State, the transition was pretty tough, honestly. I mean, even though I had this childhood dreams, I remember dreaming about being in America, being in like American high school, like playing basketballs, like flirting with cheerleaders, you know, those kind of things. But it was tough in terms of language, right? Even though I studied in KTL, like for 5 years, I was like drilling the English language, English grammar. When I came there, I could barely understand what people were saying, right? I mean, it's completely different. And it took a while for me to, I would say at least a year. I had this transition of this language barrier. I mean, you can understand everything, you read everything, but you can't speak, right? I mean, that's a huge problem for me in the beginning. But I think the main issue was language-wise, right?
Okay.
First 2 years in terms of the material, right, that they give you, like calculus, physics, it wasn't that hard. It was okay in terms of the academic performance. It was okay, but it took me a while to start, I guess, speaking English, I guess,
Okay.
when I came to the United States.
So you said the academics part was not like very struggling.
Mhm.
Like, can you describe about it a little bit more? What was the most enjoyable course for you during your years in this university? What was the most struggling? Maybe the one that you liked the most. Also,
So I think, let me see. I mean, programming. I mean, I got into the computer engineering technology program. We studied a lot of, I mean, if you go into any, I guess, American university, they start by building this foundation, I guess. So they kind of straighten up all the students to one level, and then they kind of, only at the 3rd year, they start giving this subject-related courses. And the first 2 year wasn't that hard because all you're taking is calculus 1, 2, 3, which is pretty much 10th and 11th grade of the high school here. Physics was okay because, I mean, again, it's like some basic circuit. Then I mean, if you did good at physics in the high school, again, it's no issue doing physics in the American university, I think. But those philology-related courses were a bit challenging, like writing, technical writing. Yeah, but then I guess the courses that I really enjoyed started only after the 2nd year. That's when you're picking the courses that are related to your subject, right? And embedded systems, right? FPGA designs, those kind of courses that I really enjoyed, where that actually started being very challenging because they're very new to me. Even though I was doing computer science, I always wanted to learn how computers work, and I think RIT did a really great job, like teaching those kind of things.
okay.
So yeah.
So you said that the first year was the like transition year for you in terms of language and stuff, but then probably you were okay with the languages. You already like adjusted to the new country. So like looking at the bigger picture, overall your experience in America, did you like your experience in America, living there? Like, would you like to go there would you like to go there again sometime in the future? Leave maybe for, I don't know.
I mean, it's really hard to compare, right? Because I mean, I just graduated from high school. I mean, you're kind of still developing, I would say, right, in terms of your mindset and stuff. So when I went to America, I mean, you can't even compare to anything, right? Because all you did was studying in high school in the Cattell,
In dorms,
living in
right?
the dorms, right? And then you just moved to another place, and it's really hard to compare. I mean, but definitely you like how the system works, I guess, right? I mean, you like the
retrospectively right
courses.
now, from your current, like retrospectively, now when you're looking at these years in America, um, what do you think? Like, was it helpful for you, useful for you? Did you like it? And all that.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I never regret anything. I think everything that I was doing, I was doing because I was doing it because I wanted it to do, right? And I obviously liked it. I enjoyed all the courses, and then I guess going back to I mean PhD, I also decided to go to the west side of America, I guess, just because I was like really familiar with the system, I guess. But yeah, overall, definitely, I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
So basically, then after graduating from Rochester, um, you had some experience working. Like what the information we got is that you had some experience in Alstom, Elektrovoz Krastruzauta. Also, you were intern at Esperanto Technologies. So can you please like describe your this period of graduating from the undergraduate and then like till the PhD, about all this experience in these places? Yeah.
Sure. So Alstom got into my life as a part of Rochester Institute of Technology academic program, because it's a 5-year program, and 1 year you have to find an internship and work somewhere.
Okay.
So at about like third, fourth year, you have to start looking for the internship, like applying to jobs, and the Alstom was very, very kind of lucky points, I guess, in my life, because it's really hard to find an internship as an international student. I mean, at least those days it was really hard.
Student visa, probably.
Student visa, yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe language barriers as well. I don't know, many things, I guess. But I really wanted to do an internship in the United States, because those who didn't, I mean, my peer friends, right, my friends from Kazakhstan who were in RIT as well, who didn't find an internship in the United States, they fulfilled that requirement doing internship in Kazakhstan. So they just found some random internship and just fulfilled, just put like a check mark on the program, I guess. But I really wanted to work in America, so the application process was also like quite challenging. I remember like applying to like hundreds of different companies. There were like internships, so the conversion rate, I guess, right, of the application was very low, even though you're just applying everywhere. Very handful of companies calling you to the interview, and the Alstom actually was one last company that had applied, and they replied back. I went through the interview and I just got into Alstom. But the work that I made there was very interesting too. It was kind of one of those outlier, I guess, projects in the quality department of the manufacturing company, right? So they had some budget allocated that they didn't know what to do with those money, and the manager basically decided to find an intern to create a small program for their manufacturing floor. And I guess like for the whole year, I was building a web app.
That's quite a responsible task, actually.
Yeah, it was quite a experience. That's when I kind of got to know all those like manufacturing related stuff, like Six Sigma, lean manufacturing. Like it was kind of really interesting to me as well. And I think even I was thinking about changing my majors to the industrial engineering at some point, but yeah, but I just
Alstom is
stuck to the
actually very
computation.
popular among our students as well because we also have Alstom in Astana,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they offer a lot of
Right.
internships.
And that's how I got into Elektrovos Kurasları Zavod, right? Because that's Alstom and EKZ had the partnership to build this locomotives, right? Electric locomotives. And through the HR in America, I got some summer internship in the
Here.
here in Astana. Yeah.
So I guess that's like you applying to like hundreds of companies is quite a common experience for a lot of like our students abroad because like really companies are not really willing to accept not like the internship but for the work as well
Yeah.
because they're like accompanying a lot of struggles with this for these companies. But it's like really fortunate that you got into Alstom. So basically, after these two internships at Alstom and EKZ,
Yeah.
you decided to go to the PhD.
No, not really. So actually, there was again a small period of time when I returned back to Kazakhstan. I was working here at Nazarbayev University as a teaching assistant
Okay.
in computer science department.
Okay.
And that was the time when I decided to stay in academia because like interaction with students, teaching, I kind of liked it. And I kind of doing some research and those kind of things, I truly experienced it here in Nazarbayev University.
Okay.
And I just decided that I want to continue my career in academia. And for that, I guess, obviously, you need to do some PhD, and that's when I applied to PhD.
Okay. So, what was the like experience in PhD years? What was the most struggling part? What's different like from the undergraduate previous experience? Yeah, all that.
Yeah, I think so. I did my PhD in University of California, Santa Cruz. I intentionally decided to go to the west side of the United States, just being experiencing the East Coast. Now I wanted to go to the West Coast. I think that was one. I mean, applying to Santa Cruz, I think was one of the best decisions of my life because, like me liking nature, I think Santa Cruz is I guess the paradise in this world, I guess, because you're near the ocean, you have forests. It's a beautiful place.
Okay.
Maybe that even like helped going through the PhD as well. But how PhD is different from the undergrad, I think it's very different because you're doing a lot of research. I mean, first 2 years you're taking classes, which is fine. I mean, you're used to taking classes, right? But then when the time comes to research, I think again it depends on the lab you get into. It depends on the style of your advisor. In my case, my advisor gave a lot of freedom, which is pretty typical, I guess, for the American universities. He just gives you some directions, but mostly you do your research on your own, and maybe that's why I did my PhD for 6.5 years. So it took a while to complete my PhD. Yeah. And I mean, my professor also allowed to do a lot of internships. So out of those 6.5 years, 1.5 of them I was doing internships. And as you said, one of those were Esperanto technologies.
The second one, I think, is microarchitecture something.
It's at AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. Yeah, yeah.
So what was the experience there?
It was awesome. I think, I mean, just working in Silicon Valley, like Esperanto technology was a startup. I mean, you really feel that vibe of the startup. Just deadlines, just sleepless nights, like a lot of debugging. I mean, the work that I did, I was supporting. So Esperanto Technologies, they built an AI chip, right? Like a inference AI accelerator. And any chip company, they usually model the processor. right? So they write a software model of the processor to gain some information like about the performance, about like how programs will run on the processor, right? Those kind of things. So Esperanto had a team who were responsible for developing that model, and I was part of that team, just kind of maintaining the project, adding features, and a lot of debugging, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So summing up all your like internship experience and work experience, you had some experience doing internships and like working in the States, and you also had some experience here, right? So how would you describe like the key differences between the experience and like I don't know work culture there and
Yeah.
here?
I think it's not an apple to apple comparison because the internship that I did here was, I mean, like a ECASA internship, for example, it's a different culture, right? I mean, first of all, it's a KTG, which is, I mean, different world, I guess, right? A lot of bureaucracy, and I wasn't doing any development work, like a program development, right? Like a application development. In Nazarbayev University, it was mostly teaching, right? Teaching and working with students. But over there, it was real like a development of the project, right? So it's really hard to compare.
Just
But
like in
yeah,
general approach of the people to the jobs, to the work.
yeah. I guess one thing that I really got from Esperanto technology, I guess, team, right? The work ethics, I think, right? I think in America, the job that you're doing is really part of your life, I think, right? It's most of your life, I would say, right? So the work you do, you have to do it very good, right? Like precisely on time. I mean, those kind of things. I think that I learned, like I guess, from doing like having an experience, like work experience at the United States.
So was your research at the PhD related to like your internships or this?
Yes, so at Esperanto Technologies, I did two internships. The first one was the one that I just mentioned. The second one was a bit shorter, only 3 months. And that one was very related to my research. I was actually trying to apply my research methodology to their processor. So it was very, very related.
So what shortly description of your research?
So yeah, okay. So basically, my research is in the field of verification of the processors, basically finding defects in the design of the processor. And we proposed some methodologies that are better, that we claim to be better at finding bugs in the design. Right? So I was basically applying those methodologies to the Esperanto Technologies processor.
Okay, yeah, cool. So you mentioned that you did the PhD on the West Coast. I think it was LA State, right? California State.
California, yes, yeah.
And you previously had experience on the East Coast. So what are the like key differences on like comparing East Coast and the West Coast? Some features maybe that's important, especially for you.
Let's see. I mean, I didn't quite picked up the difference. I mean, if you're talking about like work ethics and stuff, I think it's quite the same. I would say across America. But one key difference that I noticed, there are a lot of more, I guess, Asian representatives, like a more like a
On the East Coast.
in the West Coast. It's more like a ethnically diverse state, I would say, and that's why it felt more like home in California, I think. Yeah.
Like you mentioned, like this more Asian ethnic people there. Can you describe your overall experience as a like foreign person in the America, as an Asian person from Kazakhstan? Like, what kind of like interaction you had like with the people, with the local people? What is their perception about like Kazakhstan, like Central Asia and stuff?
I mean, once you got through that barrier, I think the language barrier, I think in America it's they usually don't care, honestly, right? I mean, it's I mean, I never felt. Because of the language barrier, I guess in the very beginning, you definitely feel a little bit lonely because I mean, it's really hard to interact with people. But once you got through it, I mean, you're just becoming the part of the whole, I guess, system, right? Because I mean, it's America. It's I guess, the
Very
country
diverse.
of immigrants, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just there is no such thing as a foreigner, I would say, right? Because it's a country of foreigners, I guess.
Okay.
Especially in California, because as I said, it's very ethnically diverse state, right? There's like a lot of Asian, a lot of Indians, white Americans, Black Americans, and you're just becoming part of that whole, I guess, soup, right? The mix.
Okay. Did you have any like funny stories there in, especially California, maybe?
Uh, I mean, funny stories. I mean, I remember funny stories in when I was going through that language barrier, I guess. And I think any person who just came to the States had those kind of funny, I guess, occasions. So I remember in the bus, I was sitting in the bus, and then there was a guy who forgot his gloves, like on the bus, and he just forgot it, and he's like going away, and I don't know, like I can't find a proper word to call him up. And because I mean, here in Kazakhstan, what I would say is, hey, like a brat, like wait. What I said was like, hey, friend, stop. So that's case one funny, I guess. Again, language related thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you graduated from the PhD um, at the Santa Cruz. Then we have this pandemic period.
Yeah.
So I'm
Crazy.
interested, like, what were you doing during this time during pandemic?
Yeah, pandemic. Actually, was still working on my PhD. That was like last years of my PhD. And again, because we were in Santa Cruz, it's a very small city, very like near to ocean. I think we were so blessed not to feel like all that craziness that was happening in the world. There were a lot of restrictions, but still, I mean, it's a nature, it's a forest. So I mean, we were kind of able to get out of the house, like walking around the forest, right, and then go to the ocean. We had a lot of flexibility, I guess. And again, I was just doing my research. Everything became online anyway. Just meeting with my professors. So I would say I didn't feel that much of that craziness, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you returned back to Kazakhstan?
Yes.
Here.
Actually, before, again, because everything became online, my rental lease completed. And I think because everything completed, everyone was moving to Texas. And we just moved like last 6 months of my stay in the United States, we were living in Austin, Texas. Yeah, and then we moved to Astana. Yes.
So just basic question: why did you decide to return to Kazakhstan?
I mean, there are many different reasons, and I think the number one reason was family related, because of kids. So I have 3 kids, and like seeing them grow. I think I mean we didn't do a great job teaching them Kazakh language. So they just picked up English like very very quickly. I mean, and seeing them not knowing their mother tongue, and seeing them not know their relatives at all, right? I have like a brother, as I said earlier. He has kids, and they don't know each other. I mean, right? So I mean, at that point, they didn't know each other. So that was like, I felt really worried about it, and that's why I think we decided to go back. But the main priority for me and our family was always the sort of our development, right? Like in terms of the career, we developing as people, I guess, right? And we said we're going to return to Kazakhstan. I mean, after PhD, I guess a new chapter of our life is starting, I guess, right? And that chapter at least should start from Kazakhstan. I guess that's what we decided.
Okay, so you started working after getting to the Kazakhstan. You started working at NU. So what was the like decision-making process? Why especially NU Not other place.
So
Probably your previous experience.
yes, I mean, computer science was one of. I mean, I actually started like this Talab scholarship. The Nazarbayev University, when I was doing my work here at Nazarbayev University as a TA, I actually didn't. I didn't get out of the NU completely, so I got an academic leave. And for the first couple of years, Nazarbayev University was actually sponsoring me for my PhD. So there were actually some responsibilities to go back, but it was I guess more or less like flexible, I guess. But again, that was one of the reasons why we came back.
But you weren't like unhappy about this
No,
responsibility.
definitely no. I mean, as I said, I never regret what I do. I mean, I feel like, as I said, the priority is me as self-development, right? I feel like I'm developing here. The projects in America are still going. I think I'm being useful here at Nazarbayev University to students, and teaching is very fulfilling, right? When you see like students learning something, I mean, it really like satisfies you, I guess, as a person.
Okay. So just right now, what is the research you are doing? Probably the verification system.
Yes. It's the same thing that I did for my grad school.
Okay.
That's the main research. But I also want to do because of the curiosity, trying to design chips, I guess, in Kazakhstan. That's one of the things that I'm trying to advocate for.
It was said in GitHub, I think, that you aim to revolutionize this sphere in the country, the verification system, I think.
Yeah, I mean, doing this research, right, in this field, you start seeing many gaps, I guess, in the methodology. And technically, those gaps are the matter of research. Okay. So I mean, if you know how things work, no matter where you are, again, it's completely on the software level. You can write better programs to improve the methodology in verification and design.
So about the Texter AI.
Yeah.
It's your project again?
It's a startup that we started. Yeah, I guess a little prelude, I guess. Why did we start this? And it comes back to, I mean, one phrase that I just previously said. Once you know the gaps in the methodology, you can write better programs to close these gaps, right? And again, we here in Kazakhstan can also contribute to the field of semiconductor industry. I mean, many people think that, and even when I talk to people, right, talk to people from ministry, when I say, hey, let's contribute to semiconductor industry, right? And the first pushback that I immediately see is that, hey, it's too expensive. I mean, you have to build manufacturing of the chips, right? The clean rooms and stuff. But what I'm trying to advocate for, before the chip, right, before the design comes to the fab, there is a very long process of the design and verification, right? And we here in Kazakhstan can technically contribute to that level of this whole, I guess, pipeline chain, right? And that's why we opened this startup, Texter AI. We provide verification services to companies who design chips. So we basically provide better tools that we claim better at finding bugs in the designs.
Okay. So it's a new startup?
It's a startup, and for now it's completely based on my PhD dissertation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you also have this project, more with the students, to one student, one chip.
Yes.
So it's probably again like about your intentions of advocating for these gaps and stuff, moving this industry, right?
Exactly. Yes. I mean, in Kazakhstan, I guess the huge problem, especially in computer science departments, is the fact that we teach very high level tools, I would say, right? I mean, we teach how to write applications to iPhones and Androids, how to create like web apps, right? But that's the top of the iceberg, I think, right? It's there is a huge like a stack that brings that program and runs it on the electron level on the chip, right? And what I'm trying to teach now, I guess, what I'm trying to kind of make more popular in Kazakhstan is this hardware-related stuff, right?
The
Designing
fundamentals.
hardware, how do we design, how processors work, right? We can technically design our own processors here in Kazakhstan, and there is honestly a handful of fabrication facilities in the world. I mean, the big companies like NVIDIA, AMD, they don't have their own fabrication facilities. It's completely a design house who has a design, and then they send their design to Taiwan, to TSMC, who fabricates, who specializes on the fabrication, right? And same thing we can do here. I mean, we can learn how to design processors, and who knows, like in 5, 6, maybe 10 years, maybe like the next NVIDIA will come out of Kazakhstan. Who knows, right?
What do you think the reason behind is that like very few these fabrication places?
It's expensive. I mean, it's a lot
And you
of.
believe that we can do it? We are able to do this?
I'm not. Maybe at some point, fabrication we need to do it, but we should start with the design, and even simpler than the design. I think verification we can start doing now,
Okay.
and but strategically, I think for the country, right? For the country, there should be some sort of like fabrication facilities. I'm not talking about high-end 3 nanometer, 2 nanometer technologies, right? At least on the older technology nodes, like 90 nanometers, I think a country should have a ability to do that.
Okay.
Strategically, I think it's important.
Okay, clear. What about your future plans? Like besides, probably you intend to like continue these projects, but besides this, maybe you have some new ideas, new initiatives that you're planning to do. In the future.
That's what I'm focusing, and I mean, this one student, one chip, and just giving a credit. I mean, one student, one chip it's not my name. It's a Chinese initiative actually. So just giving credit to the things that are happening over there.
There is a pattern in their names: one belt, one road, one student, one chip.
Probably, yeah, probably. But yeah, I'm just not looking too far into the future. It's really hard to predict what's going to happen in 5 years. I mean, what I usually go by what I feel is right, and at this point, I just feel like we have to develop the new hardware, new generation of hardware designers, and that's what I'm focusing right now. And because our research is so industry oriented, we have to have this business front in the country, and that's the Texer AI that I'm planning to develop. Who knows, like sell it for $1 billion and then just do the research for the rest of my life.
So okay, like for the viewers, probably most of them are now interested in this. How students can like contribute to these kind of initiatives of yours? How they can join the projects? About this.
I usually very open to students. I mean, whoever works with me know, like they can freely approach me and ask whatever they want to ask. But if guys are interested in the project, I usually have this pipeline. They have to go through this one student, one chip program, and that's sort of like a stress test for their enthusiasm. If they're really interested in the field, they will definitely go through the program, and like and the idea of the program is that person who is interested in designing a chip, by going through the program, he will have a designed working 16-bit processor at the end of the program, right? And if the student reached that level, we just can work, just kind of navigate through the interests of the student and pick a right project for him, and maybe just even develop this small processor into something even more complex, I guess.
Okay. Okay, clear. That's probably it with the research part, and some additional questions.
Yeah.
Do you have like you are working here like already for quite a while? Do you have some kind of like favorite students among the course that you teach?
Favorite students?
Yeah. We ask this usually in these professors' talks.
I usually never try to kind of. I mean, depends on like what you define by favorite.
Maybe memorable students, something like this.
I mean, any students who works, I guess, is my is my favorite student, right? The one who has this curiosity to learn things, and And just a side note, I think like NU students, because I had quite a bit of like teaching experience even in the United States, right? The percentage of smart kids is considerably higher in Nazarbayev University, honestly. Because I mean, there are students who require minimum involvement. I guess you just tell the students what to do, read this, do this, and he comes next day like with the tasks done. I mean, that's my favorite student, I guess.
Okay. Okay, some about like personal questions, some trivia blitz kind of thing. Can you tell us about like what you do besides work, you maybe hobbies or something like this?
Uh, let's see. I try to. I mean, music was a big part of my life. Uh, Dombra, playing Dombra. I play guitar. Started learning piano. Um, so I guess that's how I kind of stress relief, right?
Okay.
What else?
Do you listen to some particular artist?
No,
Favorite?
I just I'm bad at remembering artist names. Honestly, I just listen to music that I like, that I feel like good.
What about the movies? I don't know, some recent movies that you really liked.
Yeah, I like watching movies too. Interstellar is the one of the movies that I at least rewatch like every year maybe. And I actually realized that Interstellar was like released 20 years ago, so
Yeah.
I mean it's at least 20 times I watched it, I guess. And then Inception is also like a nice movie that I also rewatch.
Like some Nolan movies.
Yeah, and then A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise. I also rewatch it. Yeah.
Okay. What would you recommend to the students as a professor, uh, particularly the undergraduate students?
I mean, it could sound very common, but I guess that's what I've been doing. Follow the heart, right? Just sometimes it's easy to get into this. I mean, especially if you're following news. I mean, if you are at computer science, basically trying to learn more about like machine learning because it's a trend, right? What I was doing in my case, right, I was just always following my heart and curiosity, right? And that's how, I mean, as I said in the beginning, I started as a computer science Olympiad student, right, who was mostly doing programming, but I always was very curious how they work under the hood, how computer works, like on the hardware level. And that's why I sort of like followed this path of like a computer engineer, trying to understand hardware, design hardware, and I think it didn't like let me down. I guess I mean those choices that I made. I mean, you have to listen to your heart, follow your interest. Don't follow trends, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, if they align, that's perfect, right?
Okay.
Yeah, if they align, that's perfect.
So basically, you are an experienced researcher, I would say. And during these years of research, do you have some kind of, I don't know, favorite researcher or scientist, something like this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, because I'm doing like computer architecture, right? I mean, the very first one, I guess, my advisor, Jose now. I mean, he's just as a person, I guess, right, and as a scientist, very smart, very bright, and I think he's my role model even. I mean, to this day.
That was the next question.
Oh, that was the next question.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, but I mean, to this day, I guess he contributes to. He writes code. I mean, he's over 50 now, but he writes code. He contributes to his projects. Always, his mind is going for new ideas. I mean, and that's the research. And as a person, I mean, he as I said, he gives a lot of freedom to his students. He guides you, but at the same time, he gives you freedom, and that's how I guess new things come up. I guess in the field.
So, on the behalf of students, probably I can say that um, uh, just your example, you being our professor and stuff, also like inspires a lot of students and all these initiatives, projects, one student, one ship. Also, we appreciate these kind of initiatives from you, these kind of projects.
Thanks.
So yeah, on the behalf of everybody, of students, I want to say thank you for all this hard work and stuff.
Appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So that's probably the end of this whole podcast. Thank you for coming again. Again, very big thanks for all the things that you're doing, the researches and stuff. Yeah, it was nice having you here in our podcast. Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. Thanks for having me.